Welcome to FEMA's Tribal Recovery Video Series Step 4, Disaster Declarations and the First 30 Days. Tribal officials understand what happens after the President makes a determination on a disaster assistance request. There are many players that can be brought in to support their people and communities' recovery from a disaster. And I'm here with Angel to discuss why tribes need to provide staff to support disaster recovery program implementation. Hi, Angel.
Hi, Zuni. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So, Angel, why are the first 30 days so important after a disaster declaration?
Tribal executives need to understand the resources required to directly administer FEMA's assistance in order to make the best decision about whether to request a declaration directly. There are deadlines involved for requests. This is why the first 30 days is critical to communicate the tribe's needs after a disaster has occurred, so that you can get the help you need as soon as possible.
Thanks. It's important to understand the process to secure funding and resources. Based on the data from the preliminary damage assessments, a tribal government can decide to make a disaster declaration request, be a direct recipient pursuant to a state declaration, or be a subrecipient of the state. If the tribe requests directly, FEMA notifies the chief executive of the President's decision. If a direct declaration is approved, initial steps include appointing a federal coordinating officer, a tribal coordinating officer, and entering into a FEMA tribe agreement outlining commitments and conditions under which FEMA's disaster assistance will be provided. No disaster funding or direct federal assistance will be authorized until the FEMA tribe agreement has been signed. FEMA personnel may deploy to the impacted areas to support tribal staff in response and recovery activities.
Here are some thoughts on staffing. Tribal leadership must support disaster recovery with appropriate resources such as tribal coordinating and programmatic support, depending on the scope of the operation. It can require fairly extensive involvement. For example, staff need to support a disaster recovery could include emergency manager, financial staff, public works, tribal historical preservation officer, natural resources, fire, police, and others. FEMA provides some funding to reimburse costs directly related to administering the public assistance and hazard mitigation grant program.
FEMA will assist recipients in fulfilling post-declaration requirements, including the following: signing the FEMA tribe agreement and submitting the application for federal assistance, as well as several administrative plans required to access funding. FEMA staff can provide technical assistance in developing administrative plans.
To successfully administer FEMA programs, we need to dedicate staff and resources to help us recover from a disaster.
Check out the next video on Step 5, What Comes Next? The Road to Recovery. For more information on the disaster declaration process, check out the FEMA Tribal Declarations Pilot Guidance on FEMA.gov. If you have questions, you can always reach out to your regional FEMA Tribal Liaison.